Sure. Yeah, for sure. So, well, thank you for meeting with me today. I think, as I mentioned, I'm a bachelor's student studying international management and currently writing my bachelor's thesis on the success factors of reward-based crowdfunding campaigns. And I'm totally excited to gather some insights from you since you have been active in the crowdfunding space for over a decade now, which is quite impressive. Maybe you could quickly introduce yourself, share what inspired you basically to start Green Inbox, and what specific gap or inefficiency were you aiming to solve through Green Inbox?
Yeah, so I started Green Inbox in 2013
Yeah,
or in the end 2014, yeah, which is like more than 10 years now, and it really was by chance. I had another company that I founded, and I was working on that for 3 years, I think, and it didn't go well, so we had to close the company. And I was at home, and I saw a friend of mine that posting about a video game that is trying to crowdfund on Kickstarter, and Kickstarter wasn't as popular as it was today.
for sure.
And I saw him posting and posting, every day a few times. And I said, okay, you know what? I started talking to him, and I said, like, maybe I can help you. Maybe we could do that, and maybe we could, maybe we could do this and that. And we suggested all kinds of stuff, and that was like the first stage of Green Books, which is automation, a lot of automation of messages, reaching your own friends on LinkedIn and Facebook and Twitter and email and so on. And like you have your social graph, but it's very hard to reach your social graph. So we developed a software that with a few clicks of a button, you just write the message, and the software personalize that. That's really important. So it would say, "Hi, Marina. Nice to meet you." And
Yeah,
sorry, "Hi, Marina. Hope you're well. I just want to let you know I'm running a crowdfunding campaign." And that. Uh, and I think he wanted to raise $120,000. That was high at that time, and he raised like 70 or 80. So his campaign failed.
mm-hmm.
But after that, I thought, wow, that could be a really nice service. And this is how we started, and that was like a messaging automation. We did that for a few years, and then we started adding a lot of services, other services, and like PR, like press release and Facebook ads and all kinds of services. And in the end, after like 3 years, we realized that paid media is probably biggest than everything else. So we stopped doing everything else and just focus on paid media, which is ads for Facebook and Google and other platforms.
For sure. Yeah. Could you maybe walk me through a case where you guys really made a decisive difference in a campaign's outcome for a specific client? And how are you able to motivate people and make potential backers identify with a project or a product?
Uh, Decisive difference. Okay, so uh, I can address that in two, maybe in two ways. And okay, so yeah, we work with many creators, and I'm trying to think. Maybe I have here a few games that I can actually show them. Give me a second. I'll see if I have here something. Um, not in front of me, but maybe I'll just share my screen and how do I do that? So I'm looking for a good example. Yeah, um, um, these are some of the companies that we work with. Yeah, this is a great example. For example, the CleanseBot, where they were not making any money, and we started working with them, and in the end, when we finished the campaign, raised, not sure if you could see that, the campaign raised 1.2 million. And but not everybody's raising millions of dollars. This is another example of a campaign that we work with that didn't raise any money, and we only had like a week to work with them, and in the end we raised like $300,000. So it's definitely we made a difference.
Yeah.
And just to talk a little bit about some other aspects where we made a difference. So this is this is Flip Die Dice Coin. It's a campaign we did on Kickstarter that did also really well. So it's like a coin that there is a ball bearing here. I'm not sure if you could see.
Mm-hmm.
You throw the coin, and that lands on a number, and it uses as a dice. So that function is a dice. So in the last couple of years, what we mostly focus on, besides the paid media, which is really important, is the product market fit. So that started as an idea. And, in the beginning, we said, we just make one coin. But in the end, it became like a set. We created a set. So this was the final product. Did I answer your question?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
I'm kind of curious. I mean, it seems like you have a wide range of campaigns, and it differs very much at what stage you actually enter into the process for different clients. Is it?
Yes.
Is it just a variety of different processes, or do you guys have some sort of standardized system that you prefer?
So, as I said, we had a few phases in the company where the first phase, we did a lot of stuff. The second phase, we did mostly Facebook ads and Google ads, paid media. And in the third stage, in the last couple of years, we realized that the most important part is the pre-launch phase before going live on Kickstarter. And that is something we really like to do, is the product market fit, and that's the best scenario when we partner with companies that have an idea, but they're not sure about the price or what's going to be the features.
Yeah.
And that's where we could impact the most, because when you optimize the product market fit, you get the right product, the right size, the right price, everything is right, the campaign is gonna be successful. But when you get the product is not right, the price is not right, there is a disconnect on what people want versus what you offer on Kickstarter. So then the ad would not, even if you have the best ads with the best creative and the best audiences, people would not buy, and the campaign will fail or will not do well.
For sure. So what you're saying is part of your review process is actually also if the product resonates with you and your team, basically, a little bit, as I'm understanding. I mean, if
not with me personally, but we wanna. So we also did the luxury women's bag that none of us.
That one.
Sorry, what?
You must have not had many expertise in this area.
We did not, but again, let me just share an example really quick. So I'll share my screen again. So now we're working on a product which is, it's a Tweet Saver. It's a toy. So give me a second. So yeah, I'm showing a survey that is not relevant, which is great. But we ask a lot of questions. Would you like this to be 3D printed or actual product? Are you going to use that for battle your friends?
Yeah.
Do you want this to have lights and so on. And then we get all the metrics and we kind of understand what the product should have. What are the feature we want to use or we want to include in the product, and then we're not guessing. It's not us. It's we're using paid media, paid ads to reach thousands of people, and then you get them and answer and tell us exactly what they want.
Yeah, for sure. And it's important to reach people. I'm sure you're very involved with also the creation of the actual Kickstarter page for your clients as well.
Okay.
Yeah, I looked at a few, I'm gonna be honest, and one that stuck out was Nemesis Lockdown, who had quite a few pictures and videos, and we're kind of explaining the concept, but not also the instructions of the actual game to give an understanding to potential backers. Could you maybe elaborate how that influences backer engagement, and also what tends to resonate with people? If you have found any patterns as it goes for video length or the content, what should it include? Do you have any opinion or sort of structured way of managing that for different clients?
Yes. Okay. So just to be clear, we are doing a lot of Kickstarter campaigns. Nemesis Lockdown is an old campaign from Awakened Realms. We did not do anything about the page. That's not us, but we are doing a lot of Kickstarter pages. So I think, as you said, video is a must. You need to have a video.
Sure.
And the video length, it could be anywhere between, a minute to a few minutes. You want to tell a story, you want to tell who you are, because people are not just buying a product, they're buying a product that doesn't exist. So they actually give you the money and then they need to wait sometimes a few months, sometimes even a year or 2 or 3 till they get the product. So they need to understand why are you doing what you're doing, and if they can trust you. So trust is really important. Regarding the page itself, as you said, is since the experience is very different versus when you go to a store. You can actually see the product, touch the product. And here, in many scenarios, the product is not even manufactured. So you want to use either renders, which is videos that show the product, show videos of the product, show people playing the product, using the product, whatever you can show as much information as possible, so people can actually get a better idea of what they're going to get.
For sure. Yeah. I think it's important to let people visualize what they're actually going to receive in the end. I guess that also brings me to the idea of reward structures. There's a number of ways to do that and to basically show what people are going to receive in the end. There's different levels of tiers, different types of rewards, as you mentioned, products or even promotional gifts. Is there anything that resonates most with backers? Do they actually want the product in the end, or is it enough to give them some sort of gift? And it should ultimately reflect the project, but how do you get people motivated to actually donate to then receive something, and what should they receive?
Okay, so as you said, you focus on reward crowdfunding that offers the physical reward. There's a few layers, or should I say, a few categories to crowdfunding. We at the beginning we also did a lot of charity, which is a completely different, topic. The marketing is very, very different.
Right.
So charity and supporting organizations and kids and stuff like that. That's one thing. There is now inside that's not even on Kickstarter. That's sites like GoFundMe and Indiegogo and other sites. Kickstarter is for mostly I see Kickstarter as 3-4 categories. The first category, and we did a lot of that also at the beginning, is art, which you can include film and music and some kind of art. And I feel that was closer to charity more than it close to the other categories,
Oh,
because
okay.
a lot of people are supporting first time creators. So you're not even showing the movie, you know, like you, or sorry, the film or the music. It's very hard to get support from people that never heard about you. Of
Yeah.
course, if you're, you know, if Whoopi Goldberg also, I think, went on Kickstarter, and she had great success because people know
Mm-hmm.
her stuff. So they were willing to, oh yeah, I'm
Like,
willing to pay 10, 20, $50 to get something of Whoopi Goldberg. So I think you have the art, which is, you know, film, music, and then there's like two big categories that have physical products. One is games, which
yeah.
we do a lot of games, and the next category is like design and tech, everything physical. You know, that is something between games and design and tech. You know, it's not really a game, but it's a toy. So man, I don't know. It could be also design and tech. Other design and tech that we do, you know, could be you know, food related products, technology products, and so on. So in the end of the day, the people that back design, tech, and games, they want to get something in return. They're
For sure.
giving you $50 or $100, and um, they want to get something. So here, you know, for example, here people you know, paid $25 or $100, and they got like the dice coin. Or you know, this is another product that we did. People paid $40 or $100 or more, and they got a product in return. So it's it's similar to, you know, e-commerce,
Mm-hmm.
but with a few tweaks that the product doesn't exist. You'll have to wait a few months or sometimes a year till you get it, and you cannot trust the creator that will go and manufacture the product, and then you'll get it whenever it's ready.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Of course, that also has a lot to do with funding, goal size. I mean, that directly influences also the marketing strategy because you kind of have to find a sweet spot between ambition and credibility. You can seem confident with a large goal, but maybe also overly confident, and ultimately you have to justify this large goal. That also makes it a bit different, I guess, to e-commerce because Kickstarter is an all or nothing platform. You could end up not having any success with the product or project and are investing basically into something that will never arrive. So how do you then try to manage the pricing, and how do you work that out with your clients? Do you have any sort of suggestions for them, or do you let them more so lead the way?
You're talking about setting the goal.
Yeah.
Okay, so uh, there are you know, there's the goal is really important, but let's take a step back because I feel um, before you go live on Kickstarter,
Yeah.
you should figure out the the costs. You should talk to factories, get a prototype. Now, a lot of companies, when they go on, you know, there's the fixed cost and the marginal cost per each backer. And sometimes, let's say you want to manufacture the dice coin, so you'll have a fixed cost to make the molds, and that could be anywhere between a few $1,000s to sometimes hundreds of thousands of dollars. For example, in the case of origami paddler, that the molds were $500,000 or close to $1 million, all the molds. So that is like a fixed cost, and then each unit will be anywhere between a few dollars to a few $100s. So you need to get those costs in mind, and kind of make the math and make sure that the goal you could come when you, let's say your goal is $100,000, just a random number. That number should cover your the cost of the mold, and I don't know, the first 1,000 units, and you're still making money. So the goal is driven by the cost of production, the cost of molds, everything you need, the funds that you need in order to go and produce the product.
Okay, yeah, that definitely makes sense. I mean, through my research, a lot of papers described it as a form of signaling that you're confident and ambitious. You believe it's more correlated to the production costs rather than just creating a size of the goal at random, basically, or a sort of signal to the audience.
Yes. Now, ideally, the internal goal of how much you need to raise is also the Kickstarter goal, but that doesn't necessarily always the same number. Sometimes people say, no, let's because it's easier to raise money or raise more money when you already reached your goal.
Yeah.
It's it's similar to when you reach your goal, you're actually going to get your money, and then people know that they're going to get their product, or should I say, the creator, the project's going to be successful, and then there's going to be a transaction. It's similar to, let's say, someone asks you, think about that. I'm thinking to go to the beach on Friday. I might go to the beach on Friday. Do you want to come? So you would say, okay, tell me if you're going to go to the beach or not, and then I'll tell you if I got it. So that's the same idea about the goal. When you start, it's not even sure that you're going to even reach your goal. So it's very hard for people to commit.
Yeah.
Because everything is conditional.
Okay, yeah, that definitely makes perfect sense. Do you think the marketing strategy also has to adapt at that point? Because you described reward-based crowdfunding kind of similar to e-commerce, but you're basically convincing someone to pay for something that doesn't exist yet. And of course, when the goal is met, it also doesn't exist, but then you really do know that you're going to receive the product. Do you change the way that you send updates or promote reach out to the community, or does it stay very similar to before?
I think it's definitely, that's the reason we really like to keep the goal low. So you want to reach that as if for big companies that go on Kickstarter, you want to reach the goal as soon as possible, and then like the entire relationship is, as you said, try to create trust and kind of convince people that this is what they're going to get. And as you said, it needs to be something that they cannot get anywhere else, or a new board game that So another thing that you would need to offer is some kind of an incentive, some kind of a bonus. So you tell them, look, if you pay now, it's only going to be $50, but if you wait, you could buy that at Walmart or Target or some other, but that's going to be $80. So you want to create an incentive. Now you asked something specific. I think the messaging could be more confident, right? After you reached your goal.
Mm-hmm. For sure. I guess it's a change of tone almost in the updates that you kind of probably can notice after the goal has been met. Another thing that I found interesting through my academic studies is a sign of confidence could also be finding the optimal campaign duration. Even Kickstarter itself says 30 days signals that this is a timely thing. Of course, the limit is 60 days, but you could narrow it down to 30. Do you also give your clients a little bit of briefing saying, we're going to try to get this done in a month, or do you let them do the full 60 days?
I think that data shows that shorter campaigns raise more money.
Yeah.
You want to have a sense of urgency. I think 60 days is way too long.
Okay.
And just to talk about, each Kickstarter campaign has 3 phases.
Mm-hmm.
The launch, when you go live, the mid campaign, and the final stretch.
Yeah.
And usually you get a lot of excitement in the beginning. You can raise a lot of money in the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
The end is also a very rewarding period where a lot of people know that they only have like 2 days or 3 days or 5 days to come. So they are like kind of, okay, I need to back this now or I'm going to miss it.
Right.
And the mid campaign is probably the hardest period. And a lot of campaigns, it's a, it's really frustrating because you don't have, you already went live, and on the other hand, you have, I don't know, 20 days to go or 15 days, or sorry, if you go 60, it could be 45 days to go. And they don't have any way to convince people to back, because when people go, it's, oh, I have 30 days, I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna check that in a week or two. So if you shorten the mid campaign,
Mm-hmm.
you can have, you can have a very good launch, the first phase, and then you have gonna have a very first ending, and the mid campaign is gonna be like maybe a few days, maybe even nothing. So that's the reason you don't wanna stretch the campaign too much. And the mid campaign, some campaigns that some creators that we talked to, they said, look, we're going to do a 14 days campaign. We don't want to have days where we go live and then the people already see like, oh, there's 13 days to go. Like they're already sense of urgency that either you back this now or you're going to miss out.
You don't want to give people basically the space to make too much of a doubt themselves in any way, shape, or form, create an urgency. Yeah, I found that through my studies as well. And of course, Kickstarter suggests us as well. Another interesting thing is the advantage that I have found, that people who have already done the sort of thing, that they often have more credibility, sort of, or the experience helps them. Do you mostly, as a agency yourself, do you have basically only first time entrepreneurs, or do you often receive people that have already done it wasn't successful, and now they come to you to basically try to do it again in the right way almost?
Yeah, we if the product is interesting and we think that's going to be a successful Kickstarter, we would love to work on the project, regardless if this is their first campaign, their 10th campaign, or if they did 3 campaigns in the past and they didn't do well. Now, just from a community standpoint, I think if you did a campaign on Kickstarter and let's say even if it didn't do well, like you did, it did $10,000 and you got only 300 backers, something not big, but people can see that those backers got their reward and they're happy.
Yeah.
That could that this is an important signal that you could. A lot of creators are doing that, but it's a signal to say, hey, this is my second campaign. I already did one successful campaign. I know what I'm doing, and you can trust me. So that's worth a lot, and that's going to help you in your next campaign. So yes, to answer your question, the answer is yes.
Okay, short and simple. And I guess when you first receive a client and they haven't launched the campaign yet, but you're in the process of doing it, they obviously come with a lot of expectations and how they already want to do things. What's a common mistake that you have to create for campaign creators that would have limited their chance of success, even though their product is great? What mistake is commonly seen from your agency's point of view?
What is a common mistake we see from creators? Okay. I think a lot of Sorry?
Is there any sort of maybe even like a no-go, we're absolutely not going to do this, that you say it's going to torment the campaign success?
Not to that extent, but I think a lot of creators are, you need to be very stubborn as a creator. Like, everybody tells you it's impossible, you're going to lose money or it's going to cost. And in the end, you need to be like some kind of a resilience. But that said, you have to be, as a creator, you have to be open for the feedback from the community. And if
Yeah.
people are telling you, like, for example, we wanted to do that from plastic at the beginning.
Yeah.
And if people tell you, no, I don't want plastic, I want that to be made out of metal, you
Yeah.
need to be open. And although you came with a plan, you need to be open and not have the ability to, make a detour, change your plan
Mhm.
according to the community feedback.
Yeah.
So I think that's one thing that a lot of creators, um, they're not open enough to change their product or to embrace community feedback. Another thing that we see, that a lot of creators are very good at creating stuff, but they don't understand um, the cost structure.
Mm. Mhm.
So sometimes we talk with people and they say, we had that hundreds of times where we talk to a company and they say, for example, we want to sell this product for $100 on Kickstarter. And then we
Yeah.
ask them, okay, what's the production cost? How much is for you to make a unit? And they say $80. And you will like, you're not gonna, not that you're not gonna make any money, you're gonna lose a lot of money. And we're telling them, look, we cannot work with you. Like it's there's not enough margins. You're probably going to lose money. You need
Right.
to raise the price, either reduce the cost of production, or so a lot of creators, they don't get the math behind the pricing as well, and that the reason you see a lot of campaigns fail. Not a lot percentage wise, but there's thousands of campaigns or tens of thousands of campaigns that failed and didn't manage to ship their product. Um, those are the two things that from top of my head.
Absolutely. Yeah. Um, so those are your big, so to always keep an open mind, to be open to suggestions and to communicate, I guess, their goals and your goals effectively is definitely a big part of it. And probably also your biggest role, I guess, is to give that sort of insight and advice through your experience. Um, so do you have a favorite campaign? I feel like I don't want you to necessarily pick and choose which one is your favorite. I guess that's maybe a little bit difficult, but what's a memorable one? Or I guess to make it a little bit more broad, what separates an amazing campaign from a mediocre one, even though maybe both were successful?
Um, okay, so first, yeah, I think a really good campaign besides the product
Sure.
that needs to be, something you can't get anywhere else and something that a lot of people would say, yes, this is exactly what I wanted. It's also great marketing materials because
Yeah.
again, people cannot see the product, cannot touch the product. One product that comes to mind, which is a little bit a sad story, is Origami Paddler, which again also surprised me a lot
Yeah.
because I didn't understand. This is a paddle board, a kayak and a paddle board that you fold it and you could put it in the back of your car.
Mm-hmm.
So I, I used to kayak here and there, but I didn't understand that this is a huge pain of millions of people that they don't want to use plastic. They don't want to use inflatable, which is sometimes hard and requires a lot of work to inflate. And that campaign did really well
Mm-hmm.
and had great marketing materials. I think we raised 3.8 million. And it did really well on Kickstarter. The
Mm-hmm.
thing is, the company, I said it's a sad story because the company, after a few years, they went bankrupt, but there is a good ending. Another company bought them, and they're still in business.
There you go. Yeah, I actually saw this on your YouTube shorts, and I watched the short, basically video that described it. It resonated with me as well, just because it was a pretty relatable, I guess, because they showed many situations and the downsides of either kayaks or paddle boards, that you have to pump them up, and when you move they totally wiggle and you can kind of fall off with other products, and therefore their product is the best. Yeah, I that really resonated with me, I guess, the display and the visuals that they used. um
Yeah, and you know, everybody's sitting in your computer. Then you see people, you know, in the water, on the waters, kayak, and you're like, yeah, I want to be there. Like it really, as you said, it's really resonates with you to leave everything and go take a break.
yeah.
You know, with a kayak or a stand-up paddleboard. Okay, sorry, go ahead.
No, for sure. I think I kind of put myself into the situation of the video, and I remembered that when I use my paddleboard, I have to pump it up, and I need a few breaks in between because my arms aren't that strong. So it for sure it was a useful way to use visuals to engage with the audience. I guess I definitely resonated with it. I think we almost covered basically all of my topics. Actually, it went quite a bit faster than expected.
Okay.
So one of my last questions could be, so what are your top success factors for a campaign? I mean, we covered numerous amounts as far as reward tiers go, visuals, multimedia, reward structure, campaign duration. What are those factors that you say or that I maybe missed are important?
Yeah. So okay, maybe I'll go over 2 3 things.
Yeah.
One thing is the audience size,
Hmm.
and you know, sometimes we do a project. I can give you an example. I have here, you know, I have here the. Give me a second.
No worries.
If I can find some, I'll see if I can. Yeah, this is a great example. So, where is it? Yeah. Okay. This is the game we did. Like you know, it's a game. It's a game inside a book. Anyway, but the the audience size for that was huge. You know, everybody wants to play game. It's small. It's
Yeah.
cool. You could play, I think, 2 to 6 players. So you know, you could take it anywhere. That's amazing. On the other hand, people for role playing games, people that play Dungeons and Dragons and role playing game, that audience is relatively small. That could be 2 to 3 million in the U.S. You know, give or take. While the board game industry could be, you know, could be 50 million people that play board games in the Western world, maybe even more than that. And the kayaks, for example, the audience is huge. That could be a million. I want to say hundreds of millions or 100 million. Apparently, everybody wants to kayak, or should I say, you know, everybody like would see that and say that's interesting. So the audience size is really really important, because even if you solve huge pain and the product is cool and so on, you also need to ask yourself, what is the audience that will buy that, and that will determine if the campaign, you know, how much money the campaign would raise.
Yeah.
The second factor is, you know, like if people are excited, if you're solving a huge problem, or it's something that people would say, you know what, it's nice. So you know, like if it's when we say something you cannot get anywhere else, but also people need to be really really excited and pay $50 or $100 or $200 and wait, uh, let's say a year till they get that. So they need to be super excited. The product needs to solve a real pain. It's something that they cannot do alone, and it's something that they really want. Like the kayak, he would say, "This is something I really want. I'm willing to wait a year to get that next summer."
Mm-hmm.
That's another factor. So those things are not related to Kickstarter, but actually the product, of course, the pricing. You know, you want to have good margins. If someone else is selling similar kayaks for, you know, for $200, it's going to be really hard for you to sell that for 500 or 1,000. It needs to be, you know, you need to compare yourself to other solutions or other products in the market. So all those things are not related directly to Kickstarter, but rather on the product. One last thing on my list is of course, the marketing materials, the creative, the videos.
Mm-hmm.
And that's also really, really successful. It's very hard to get people attention, and if the marketing materials are good, if they can get people attention, if they you can bring the same traffic, you can pay a lot less because it's, a lot of people, what we really like to do is when people see the ad, they're not even know it's an ad because they enjoy it. They say, "Oh, it was so great," and they share that with their friends. And so the idea of the marketing materials should not be, boring. It should be interesting, and people should enjoy that. So all those factors are not directly related to Kickstarter, but rather on the product, the category, the pricing, and so on.
Yeah, I guess that's also evolved since I researched like a bit of your strategies in the beginning for like about 5 years ago, I guess. And you really set your emphasis on Facebook ads. That must have also changed now with the rise of TikTok being one of the most influential platforms.
Okay.
Uh, were you able to adapt to that sort of strategy? This is also like a way that often people share ads through this app. Do you use that to your advantage as well? Is this a success factor for you?
Yeah, and what you said is true. Facebook was a main. Okay, I'm gonna. Okay, so in the past we used to use mostly Facebook and Google, and I think each campaign could be very different. Sometimes we spend more money on Google than Facebook, and sometimes Facebook is more. Overall, Facebook is great to create attention for to reach someone that never heard about your product, and you're going to see a video and an image, and that's the first time he's going to see that. And Google is very good to close the loop with the purchase. If someone is then looking that on Google, searching that on Google, or display ads can show them the ads again. And as you said, now we are also running ads on TikTok. That falls under the same idea of reaching cold audiences, people that never heard about that. We should show him a video about the product and getting their attention, and then get them into the campaign page, and then we start the marketing effort, the retargeting effort. Sorry.
Makes sense. Okay, I guess I'll wrap it up from here. I think we covered a lot of ground, and I'll definitely use a lot of this for sure for my thesis, and it's been very interesting. What is maybe one takeaway or one piece of advice you would give to a first-time Kickstarter creator that's new to the space and new to crowdfunding overall? Is there any sort of big takeaway that they should have?
I think if you have an idea for something, go make a prototype. That could be anywhere between $50 to a few $100, sometimes even more, but you have to make a prototype.
Mm-hmm.
And then start getting feedback. It's very hard to get feedback before you get a prototype, so it's kind of the chicken and egg. So whatever you need to do, get a prototype or a mock-up of whatever you want to do, and then start showing that to people and get feedback. Either could be people or people on the street, or using paid ads to get reach people that never heard about you and get their feedback and see if this is something they're interested in. That would be your starting point. And after that, things will start to roll. You get feedback. They tell you, no, I like it, but I don't like red. I want it in blue. And you'll start getting feedback, and that's probably, and you could get to optimize your product market fit. And you could either launch this on Shopify, which is another thing we do, but it's very different financially, or go on Kickstarter, where you you reduce your risk. You don't need to order 2,000 units. You actually check if
Right.
there's people are willing to pay for that, and then you get the orders, and only then you go to manufacture that. So you really reduce your risk, not only financially, but also, again, you could go and make something in red while most people would like that in blue. So you kind of reduce your risk and make sure people are really interested in your product.
Yeah.
So that's more or less the stages for someone that just got an idea.
Yeah, for sure. So know the market, know your audience, and be adaptable, I guess, is the big takeaway often, to be open to change,
Yes.
open-minded. Well, thank you so much for the quick interview. I really appreciated it. I really do believe I covered lots of ground with you, and I'm very excited to see all the takeaways that I could have basically from this interview.